This is the Celebrity Afterlife Report podcast.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the Celebrity Afterlife Report, the only show on the internet that gives you all the up-to-the-minute gossip about all your favorite deceased celebrities. Think of us as TMZ for the dearly departed. We've got some hot stuff to share with you this week, so without any further ado, let's do this thing. Blues guitarist B.B. King transitioned to the next world a few days ago. Upon his arrival, he was welcomed by the ever-present greeter to the stars, Soul Brother #1, Mr. James Brown. Also present was a medium-sized crowd of King's fans, as well as someone we haven't heard much from in a while, circus proprietor and show business legend P.T. Barnum. As regular listeners know, Barnum owns a restaurant/arena shaped like a big top circus tent. According to several sources who were present at BB's arrival, no sooner had James Brown welcomed him when Barnum introduced himself and offered King a residency as his restaurant's regular Saturday night entertainer. The sources tell me that Brown, who up to that moment had been his usual jovial self, seemed a bit miffed by Barnum offering the job to BB rather than him. I think a little backstory is in order here. Not too long ago, James was essentially kicked off his own Soul Circus tour by his opening acts, who were angry that James had laid down strict rules for them, ordering that only he and his band be allowed to do encores, strictly enforcing a time limit on their sets, etc., etc. The sources tell me that James was visibly pouting, feeling that he had been passed over by Barnum. Barnum, who was on the earthly plane during the 19th century and therefore never saw either Brown or King play, explained that he had been told by a friend that BB had just arrived in the afterlife and that he should try to hire him. Apparently feeling a bit uncomfortable and pressured by James, Barnum offered him a job too as the Saturday night show at his restaurant. The offer apparently mollified James's hurt feelings, and he accepted. Okay, on to a story we've been following for several weeks now. We knew that aviator Charles Lindbergh was searching for Adolf Hitler, rumored to have been living in the remote woods, supposedly to atone for his evil deeds on the earthly plane. We knew that Lindbergh and Hitler had a clandestine meeting in an upscale Afterlife hotel suite. We also knew that Lucky Lindy had convinced singer Judy Garland to give him the plans to the all-female community she had planned on building but ultimately abandoned. What we didn't know is if all these pieces fit together, and if so, how. Now we know. Someone close to Lindbergh told one of my Next World sources that the flyer talked Garland into giving him the plans, with the idea of turning what was supposed to be a feminine utopia into an all-white town. His biographers have written about Lindbergh's anti-Semitic leanings and an admiration for Hitler, which he expressed in his journals. According to the presumably now former friend of Charles, in recent weeks he had been talking about he and Der Fuhrer together might be able to build a place where the, quote, inferior people, unquote, would be forbidden to live. Ew. When a TV news crew went on a search for the German dictator, that apparently gave Lindbergh the idea to find him to pitch his idea to Hitler. According to the source, when Lindbergh read stories about Garland abandoning her town building project to marry Donald Trump's father, Fred, he put Zwei and Zwei together and set the wheels in motion. As you would expect, both Lindbergh and Hitler have dropped out of sight. No one has been able to reach them for comment. This has to be the hottest story in Afterlife gossip at the moment, and it shows no signs of cooling off anytime soon. There will be more. You can bet on that. We've also been following the story about former Apple CEO Steve Jobs and artist Jackson Pollock nearly coming to blows recently. Now I have the details. Some time back, Jobs hired Pollock to do some large-scale murals for his environment, the blimp hangar-sized building that has technology that allows Afterlife residents to enjoy a rainy day. Jobs assumed that the murals would resemble the drip paintings Pollock is famous, or infamous, for. According to my information, Pollock even, kind of hinted to Jobs that is exactly what he planned on creating for the environment. So with that understanding, Jobs left Pollock to his work while he went on to oversee other projects. On installation day, however, the murals were being lifted into place by a crane when Steve dropped by the environment to watch. Jobs was stunned to find that not only were the murals not the abstract drippings he expected, but that Pollock had instead painted very realistic female nudes. The 3 murals are over 50 feet long each, I'm told, and feature very explicitly painted, very voluptuous women. My sources tell me that Jobs went ballistic, screaming at Pollock, "This is not what I wanted! This is not what you were supposed to do!" Pollock calmly replied that the two had a deal for him to paint some murals, and that he had never actually promised what the content of the paintings would be. Witnesses say that an apoplectic Jobs balled up his fists and started toward Pollock as if to hit him, but was restrained by the construction men putting up the murals. Pollock, I'm told, never flinched, but just stood his ground as Jobs raged on. The environment has been closed temporarily, pending the resolution of this dispute. One last quick story before we go. It's a good one. There was a children's zoo in a park in one of the next world cities. Recently, a man started showing up at the zoo every day to make balloon animals for the kids. Here's the fun part. The man claims and is believed by some to be the Buddha. I'm told he sits quietly on a bench giving a balloon animal to every child who asks for one. One of my sources approached him the other day and asked him if he was, in fact, the Buddha. "I am indeed," the man said. Asked why he makes balloon animals for the children, he replied, "There is nobility in serving the innocent." I don't really know what to say to that one. And on that cryptic note, we wrap up this edition of the Celebrity Afterlife Report. Please come back next week for more up-to-the-minute gossip about all your favorite deceased celebrities. Also, please tell your friends that the report is available on iTunes. I am the Celebrity Medium. Thanks for listening.
You've been listening to the Celebrity Afterlife Report podcast. To ask a question about your favorite deceased celebrity, call 818-3-MY-DREAM. 818-3-MY-DREAM. 818-369-3732.